minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Blinkers Off. Geez, to the Rocket Hour. We're back from a day vacation. We both were traveling on Thursday back from Indiana Grand. We're back today. We're going to do something a little different, Ricky. We're going to cover the Saratoga meet in general, kind of give it a preview. We thought it was a good time to do it with all the rain happening at Belmont yesterday and this morning. All those races are off the turf. So we're going to cover Saratoga. We're going to give you kind of a general preview. Listen, your name has been countdown to Saratoga, Ricky's Rockets, for what, a month? So you got to be excited about this show, right?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You know, it happens to work out just because of the weather. I could tell you the weather's nice now, but if you haven't been alive or living under a rock the last 24 hours, there's a tropical storm that's been up the East Coast. I talked to Mike Samich yesterday. He's in Raleigh. He said he can barely see outside. I could barely see outside last night. Luckily, most of it was this morning. It's nice now, but there's like puddles going to be on the track at Belmont. So it's a good idea that we're going to Saratoga. We'll recap. I'm excited. I can't wait. 6 days officially. You're right. I've been doing the countdown since I think like 40. So we've been like 5 weeks, probably since the Belmont. Right around then, honestly, right around that time. So it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. We had a dollar giveaway that we'll talk about. That was a Twitter rage for a little while, but Indiana Grand. But no, I'm excited. Anytime we got Saratoga as a background picture, we know we're close, and I'm excited. 40 days, I think, of action and 40 days of stakes races as well. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, going to be great. And you're right. We will talk about Indiana Grand a little bit after our Saratoga preview. And we should talk about Indiana Grand. It was a lot of fun. We'll kind of talk about the Indiana Derby, the Indiana Oaks, and just Indiana Grand in general, and kind of give people an idea of what it's like and, if you should visit or not. And spoiler alert, you should. It's a very cool place. So, all right, let's get going though on Saratoga. What I've done, I've just asked 5 general questions, or talking points for us to kind of go over. And within those talking points, obviously, we'll get into betting angles. We'll get into horses that you need to know. We'll get into jockeys and trainers you need to know. Those are a little bit easier to answer. Horses, maybe not as much. But I'm going to go, and I always ask this question right off the bat. Who wins the trainer title? Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher always are competing for this award. Who do you got this year, Ricky? Is it Chad? Is it Todd? Or will somebody try to upset these two?
So if you were to set odds, I would say Chad is probably like even money and Todd's probably like 6-5 or maybe the other way around. I don't know. It's whatever you prefer. I'm going to take a 5-1 shot. Well, I'm taking a guess. There are no odds. I'm going to take 5-1 and I'm going to say Christophe Clement because this is my thinking, right? Chad Brown dominates you on the turf. Pletcher is probably going to dominate you on the dirt. But having said that, I would probably put Pletcher third on the turf and Chad Brown third on the dirt if I had to rank these top 3. So I'm going to take the guy who I would put second in both of those categories. So I'm going to go, and I think I can get a nice price. No, I'm kidding. There's no odds. But no, I think Christophe Clement's got a legitimate shot, right? I mean, he's going to get Rosario for 85% of his mounts. He's extremely consistent. And there's really no lull. For a long time, at least at Gulfstream, we said, Todd Pletcher's 3-year-olds look like crap. That was the prime factor and some of the other ones that didn't really run well. And then Chad Brown, we kind of said, they don't look great early on either. And then, he got out of the rut as he always does. Clement never really had that. So I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to be a little different. I know he's not the favorite in this question, but I'm going to go Christophe Clement and kind of shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, to put some context into it, in 2018, Chad Brown ran away with this thing by over 20. In 2019, he won by exactly 20. And then last year, Todd Pletcher upsets him 32-28. And for your Christophe Clement comment, he was third last year with 20 wins. Him and Mike Maker tied for third. So I think those are definitely the three. I think Bill Mott is kind of this. He's not going to win it, but I think he is a sneaky one to kind of throw in there as well. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think Chad Brown takes it back over this year. Here's why. I just kind of feel like more than ever, he's really pointed for this meet. He got going pretty slow start, through the, February, March, April. Then he really have kind of gotten going, and I think he's going to just extend it and have a big meet at Saratoga. Last year, he didn't really. He had over 40 wins in 18 and 19. Last year, just 28 wins at Saratoga. So I think he takes it back over. This is always, some people are going to say, well, I don't, it's just the rich get richer type of thing. I don't really look at it that way. I think it's fun to see the two elite trainers in this game competing for the elite, trainer title, as far as meets go of the season. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting to watch these two go at it again. All right, let's go to the jockeys. Who wins the jockey title? That's next. So Irad and Jose, they're going to battle it out. Who you got out of those two?
Well, out of the, it's interesting. Out of those two, I'm picking Jose. I think anyone knows that. But, based on my Christophe Clement comment, who finished third, Joel Rosario might have a shot at it too. Now, the problem for everyone else when competing against Irad with this title, Irad will ride a $2,000 claimer. That's why a guy like Johnny V, Castellano, those guys can't win it anymore because they just physically don't have enough mounts. They would have to win like 75% of their mounts to compete at that level because they just don't ride enough. So you have to take the quantity factor out of it, put that into it. I'll say Irad, but I think Rosario. I'll take Jose, excuse me. But I think Joel's going to get second. I say Irad finishes third, which might be the biggest shock to this question right here.
I would be shocked if that is that the case for sure. In 2018, Irad Ortiz won it. 2019, his brother Jose was the winner. Last year, Irad 59, he won it. Jose Ortiz 58. And your pick there, Joel Rosario, came in with 48. I think Irad wins it. I definitely think that's going to happen. Here's kind of the question, and maybe your answer can't be Rosario because you think he's actually going to compete for it. But, who is that jockey? There's always one that kind of makes not a name for himself, but just rides unbelievably better than he has throughout the season. I think last year you could tell, you could say Rosario was that answer. Who's kind of that sneaky jockey that you think is going to have a big meet this year?
Okay. I'm going to say I'm going to be creative with my answer. I'm going to say it's going to be I have the answer. It's going to be a jockey that's going to ride a lot of claimers for a trainer that does really well in the claiming ranks. That leads me to two. It leads me to one. I shouldn't say two. I think Jose Lezcano has a shot at the top five. I truly, in wins, not maybe ROI, nothing like that. But he rides a lot for Linda Rice. And Linda Rice has a lot of good horses on your Wednesday, your Thursday, and your early part of Friday's card. Now, with that said, there are also more upsets. Linda Rice might have some New York bred maiden claimers, those races that I like to avoid and beat the traffic. I think Lezcano is going to show. The other one to me would be Kendrick Carmouche. That I think Kendrick's a little bit older and a little bit more well-known. But I think Jose, who had a big injury at Aqueduct, didn't ride as much. I think we're going to see a good meet from Jose Lezcano. If he were to finish top five, that would probably be a bigger shock than Irad finished third. Because you got to remember, you're going to have a lot of shippers that come in as well. You're probably going to get Ricardo up here as well. When you might get Flo Giroux at some point, some weekends. You might get Pratt or Rispoli a couple weekends. You might get some other guys at Florida or whatever. This meet is impossible. So I think Lezcano to finish top five. You could probably get like 20-1 on that if we were to make a real odd. So that I'm going to go with I think that's a quality not to win the whole thing, but top 5, maybe top 7. I think that would be a great meet for him.
Yeah, I like it. I like that pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm looking at these standings as we talk here. Manny Franco's been 9th the last 2 years as far as overall wins in these standings. It's time. I think he's the top 5 guy. He's gotten better and better as the years have gone on up at NYRA. I definitely think Manny Franco definitely is kind of that sleeper that can get up in the top 5. And we've got Dennis. Dennis, first time in a minute. I hope you enjoyed Indiana Grand. We'll talk about Indiana Grand after this Saratoga preview. He says Jose Ortiz to win it. And I know you say Jose as well. I said Irad. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. I think the jockey standings are always fascinating up there as well. I know the Ortiz are the big favorites, but it's still kind of fun to watch those guys, especially the last week of the season.
I'm shocked at your pick, because for months you've been telling me how good Junior Alvarado is. I thought that was your guy. Now he is a little older than Manny, and maybe Junior might just be at his peak in terms of like where he's going to be, right? Because Manny is much younger. He had Tis the Law that probably really put him on the map as a legitimate, like, if you have a Kentucky Derby horse and you have Manny Franco, I think you could be confident they're going to win. I'm not sure you'd say the same about Junior Alvarado potentially. The other one I thought was interesting, even bigger long shot. I really like the way Eric Consell rides. I really, really do. This is by far, I know, I'm sure Magic's not listening at this point. It's a little early. This jockey colony in New York is 45 times better than any other jockey colony anywhere in the country. It's not even close, I don't think. You don't even have to include Flo Giroux and Ricardo if they stayed in the Midwest or Kentucky or whatever. Even if they went out west, I'd still take the New York guys. Because you look at Rispoli and Pratt, right? And it's like, we have a Rispoli and a Pratt. And the 2 Ortiz brothers are probably better. If you could only take 2, you'd probably take the Ortiz brothers over Rispoli and Pratt. At least I would. Maybe not everyone, but I would. And then there's a big drop off out west. After those 2, there's a huge. You don't get that. Joel Rosario's your 3rd. I mean, that's not that big of a drop off. So I don't think it's really that close.
Yeah, I'm with you. And even if you said, hey, Rispoli, Pratt, they're interchangeable, as far as the Ortiz brothers, it's the drop-off. It's that, there you don't have that steep drop-off at NYRA that you do in California. So I totally agree with that. I think this is a good question as well. How many times do you think Ortiz or Rosario goes out west to Del Mar? Rosario, probably some, more than Ortiz, right? Yeah,
because Rosario has a few more what I call shipper mounts, and shipper mounts are horses that travel a little bit more. Joel also rides for Clement, who has more turf runners. His better runners are turf runners. So he doesn't necessarily, he's not linked to Pletcher, who's going to have more dirt runners type of thing. So I think Rosario would ship more than Ortiz. Also, in Joel's mind, I don't want to speak for Joel because I've never met him a day in my life. I would love to. I think if he said he has to win, if he's told his mind, I'm only going to win I have to win a rider title, either at Del Mar or Saratoga. In his mind, he could probably do it more so at Del Mar than he could here. Yep. That doesn't mean he's going to ship there more. That's not a correlation. I just think to your point, I think we'll see him ship a little bit more, and more likely, if Joel's probably 3rd in our rankings in NYRA. I mean, can Javier finish 3rd? Can Johnny V finish 3rd? It gets a lot more competitive. If he goes there, I think he could, and was to ride the whole time, I think he could actually win the thing. So I'm with you. I think Joel would be more likely to ship out there. I think we'll see him a few more times out there than Jose, who might not ship at all. Jose might not get out there at all. I have no idea.
It's going to take a big horse for Jose, where Joel, I don't think it's going to take quite as big of a horse for him to go out there for a day or a weekend. So I do agree with you on that. Jared Bush is watching today, and we're thankful for that. And you do include Franco and Cancel and also Lescano. Yeah, 3 guys we talked about, kind of the under-radar guys you're going to get prices on. I'm sure, Jared, you're aware of that as well, because Ortiz brothers get bet hard. Even Rosario gets bet. And then you got these 3 guys who are very capable. And to your point, Ricky, if a Franco or a Cancel or a Lescano said, you know what, I'm going to try Del Mar, they would be the 3rd best jockey in the colony as soon as they showed up, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree, right? I mean, I'm looking at the stats here, and I'm just looking at I think this is going by earnings for Del Mar. You have Pratt, Juan Hernandez actually did really well, better than I thought, and Rispoli, then Cedillo and Tyler Bays. If Tyler Bays is your fifth, you know what I'm saying? Like at that point, top to 1 through 5, I'm taking the Kentucky group because I'm going to throw like a Corey Lannery or a Leperoux in there. So at number 5. So here at number 5, on paper, it's like John Velasquez. I mean, if you were to put either Ortiz brother, Joel, I'm being consensus. I'd not need whatever. Javier and then Johnny V, or Johnny V and Javier. That's your 5th. I'm probably going to take them over Tyler Bays. So I mean, maybe 1 and 2 are competitive, but 3 through 5 aren't. And then 6 through 10, you got the Lezcanos, the Manny Francos, the Concels, the Carmouche. It's not all that close, to be quite honest with you. Like a guy like Raylu Gutierrez, who you know better than I do, rides at Lone Star, Sam Houston. He can't even get him out. He can't get him out at night at Saratoga. So the whole thing is nuts. If you're number 20 in Saratoga, don't feel bad. It's like an all-star group.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's a great colony. Each and every year, one of the strongest, or the strongest, I should have said, colony in the country. All right. Let's go to this, and I think this is something that people really want to know about. You and I have been betting and playing Saratoga for a long, long time. Favorite betting angle at Saratoga? It sometimes can be a quirky track, a tricky track. You don't have to do just one. You can do just one. We'll talk about a couple if you want. Go ahead. What's your favorite angle at Saratoga?
My favorite. Now, I've never told you this before because I try to keep it under wraps. Horses that ship from Belmont that is specifically run on the inner, I think they have a massive, massive advantage, especially when they've gone, I talk about the shoot all the time. I think if you have a massive disadvantage when you break from the far outside, it's because I think it's like, it might be on the widener. Some of the angles at Belmont, you have that shoot, or it's like it's literally a vertical and you go up and then around. It's very, very weird. I think those turf horses, along with the toughness, I've talked about the toughness before. Like Oaklawn's a tough track. It's a gritty track. Gulfstream's very soft as far as I'm concerned. Those horses do a lot better than a lot of the turf shippers that come from out west or come from Kentucky. I love those angles. I love those Belmont horses that stay consistent. I think Saratoga is extremely difficult to win, and you want as much experience as possible. The other thing I've noticed is horses that can go one turn at Belmont, like these extended one turns, struggle a little bit more, in my opinion, because they're so used to gathering themselves in the backstretch. If you run a mile in, at Saratoga, I don't know if they have a true mile on the dirt. They might not. They might only have 7 and then like a mile and an eighth. I don't think they have a mile. It's very, very difficult because you're going to have the sprinting distances aren't as big, but it's really difficult sometimes to try to navigate in your head how these horses are going to deal with an extra turn or things like that. At Saratoga, they go a true like 3 turns on the turf. Some of these races at Belmont, it's like 1 or 2. So I think the turns, it's not an angle, but just trying to realize that I think these Belmont horses have a massive advantage, especially if they're in form.
Yeah, I think that's a really good note there. I think those are the little quirks of Saratoga that make it what it is. They make it tough to handicap, but also make it very rewarding when you hit it. And for me, I'll go for 2. Number 1, a guy like Irad, a guy like Jose, when they jump on, like a Kentucky trainer's horse. And I'm not talking about their big horse that's a star and everybody knows about it. I'm talking about it's a 3rd race. It's a $70,000 maiden for New York breds. And Kenny McPeak has a horse that, for some reason he has a New York bred. He puts it in there and Jose Ortiz is aboard. Make note of that. 2 years ago, that was an angle that was super strong. It was an angle again last year. So, any Kentucky type trainer comes in, you think, well, they got to find just somebody to ride it. And then all of a sudden it looks like, wow, Jose Ortiz or Irad Ortiz jumped aboard that horse. That's a really strong angle. Sometimes the best, actually not sometimes, all the time, in my opinion, the best handicappers at the track are the jockey agents, and they are aware of what's going on, especially the good ones, especially the ones that represent the Ortiz brothers, Rosario, Javier Castellano, guys like that. They know who the best horses are. They have an idea of who's coming up. And, if Kenny McPeak, I'm just going to use him as an example again, if he's got a horse that he thinks fits into the 4th race on Saturday at Saratoga and he really likes him, he's going to call that agent and he's going to tell him, hey, this horse is good. The agent's going to do the homework. And if a guy like Jose Ortiz is on him, it means the horse is ready to run. So keep an eye on that. The other thing I will say, since you did too, I'll do too as well. On the main track, and this is what I've always noticed year after year, speed will hold in the routes very well. In route races on the main, I want to be forwardly placed. Sprint races, I don't think that angle holds up quite as well. Not saying you can't go gate to wire sprinting, on the main, but I think those route races, it plays very tough on the closers. So those are the two I really look for the most. And yeah, as Jared says, early speed can usually hold. Yes, I think route races. Do you kind of see that trend as well? Where route races, it's pretty hard to close. Yeah,
you know what it is? I completely agree, but it's also, think about it like this, right? The horses themselves are so much better at Saratoga that they have heart, that they're going to hold on. Closers are very interesting, right? Because you might have, first of all, no one's Zenyatta, but Zenyatta can run down anyone.
Yeah.
She was that talented. And I know that's like the best of the best closers in the history of the sport. But more times than not, you have to pass tired horses. It's very rare you're going to catch a horse that's fresh, that saved ground, went slow, whatever, and you're going to catch them. These horses all have heart. They're extremely talented. And we always have this conversation. What's the definition of a boutique meet? I don't think this is a boutique meet. When you have 40 race days and you're there 6 weeks, I don't. I said anything a month or less is a boutique meet. Kentucky Downs and Keeneland, I think, is a boutique meet as well. You're right. It's very difficult. The speed holds on. On the turf, I'm the other way. I think Belmont, the speed on the turf holds a lot more because I think they're more merry-go-round races. I completely disagree when you get to Saratoga. I want a closer on the turf much more so, especially because the more turns, the more likely the front end horses are going to wear down. When they don't really go many turns at Belmont. I mean, if they go on the widener, they might go one turn and it's a big loopy turn. So at Saratoga, they're sharp, they're tight. It's going to be a lot quicker. It's going to tire those horses out. So I'm completely with you. The other thing I want to add that we both agree on, so you can add or agree with, do not be afraid to use a price in the final race of the day, which is usually those maiden claimers, more so than at Belmont, because what happens is a lot of these trainers and a lot of smaller trainers and a lot of the owners want one win all year. Now, we're not talking Klarovich. We're not talking West Point. We're not talking, I don't know, anyone else.
You're not talking big outfits.
Yeah, exactly. These smaller barns, if they can get one win in a maiden claiming race, they'll wait like now. And that's why, if you guys are handicapping Belmont, you're going to see a lot of double entries because they want to get these horses one more race. You're going to see that again as well because it's very difficult to play. You're at Aqueduct, you're at Belmont even, or at Gulfstream. It's like you're going to get these races again. You might not find the perfect situation again at Saratoga. You might find it once. So just keep an eye on that as well. And you can get prices because Jose Lascano is going to be on a 12-1 or Manny Franco is going to be on a 12-1 when Irad's on an 8-5. So just keep those types of things in mind. And don't be afraid of betting jockeys you're not aware of because they wouldn't be riding if they weren't there as well. So maybe it's a Gasleon you're not aware of or a Le Peru that comes up for the weekend you're not aware of. These riders are good. They're all good. So keep that in mind as well.
I want to get to Dennis's comment real quick because I think it might not be important for this year, that the specific angle, but this is what can happen at Saratoga, and Dennis is right about this. He said, I caught something quick last year. Rail post was dead, sprint turf last year, so that was one catch. So I expect something like that this year. What you're talking about is something specific just to that meet, that year's meet. And that can happen at Saratoga as well. I've said it before. It can get a little quirky, especially when the weather kind of gets going and rolling. And you're going to have days where it rains up there. And you can kind of catch a trend like this. This trend last year was an example. Not saying that will be the trend this year, but that's kind of how that track is. So I definitely, I think the best thing I could say about Dennis's comment is pay attention,
Yeah. And if you don't watch every day, which we watch every day, this is what we do. I think NYRA has like a track trends section. Just you might want to read those maybe a week before. You don't have to read like every one and watch every replay if you don't want to, but NYRA has plenty of information, free information, by the way. You don't have to pay for it. They have like track trends and stuff like that you can go and kind of see. I think like if you buy the on-program track, if you do it like on a Wednesday, they'll have Sundays. Like if you buy Saturdays, they might not have like Fridays because it's too close, but they might have Wednesdays and Thursdays. They'll give you a few sentences on how the track played out. Just keep these things in mind. I don't love track trends. I think the horses make the trends. I don't think the track makes the trends, but this was certainly one that prevailed last year. So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. I wouldn't handicap towards a trend, but if you're like split on two horses and you're like, I have no idea which way I want to go and I don't want to use both, maybe this trend could just help you make a decision. It's another piece of info to have.
That's a very good point. I think that let the trend, if you're close on 2 or 3, kind of dictate where you go. I think that's a very good way to use it. A couple other quick comments from Jared. A lot of 7 furlong races, they usually play more like 1 mile dirt routes. I totally agree with that. I think these 7 furlong races are tough. They're really tough to win one of these, especially on the front end. And it's not a closer-friendly track unless you get an off-track. Pretty much. I think that's accurate as well. I think once the track goes off, you kind of throw out the trends on the main, and it can kind of play to closers a little bit as well. A lot of times, outside closers. You can't. It's hard to come up the rail, in my opinion. Year after year, and I could change, obviously, but hard to come up the rail when it's wet. I want to be on that outside crown of the track, kind of. When it's wet.
I'm with you. The only horse that I saw dominate a 7 furlong, I think it was the Amsterdam. It was Chancelot.
Yeah,
I've honestly never seen a performance like that in my life. Going 7 furlong. Now, mind you, I think Chancelot was on the juice, so
right.
That's not a surprise. No, but you're right. There's no 1 mile dirt. So if you have a true miler like Jackie's Warrior, like they tried with, or a Drain the Clock, they're both probably better going shorter, and they are perfect for an Amsterdam type of race in terms of like that distance, not the Amsterdam itself maybe, but like that type of distance, 7 furlongs. It fits them beautifully. You're right. If you have a true miler, you're going to cut back more than go that 1.1 miles, because the 1.1 miles is now that extra turn as well. So if you're going to see a lot of milers, true milers, like 1-turn Belmont horses, go into these 7 furlongs. There are going to be a lot more cutbacks and stretching out if you have a true miler. So,
yeah, no question. All right, let's get into a little bit of the horses that we're going to be seeing at this meet. We've kind of talked about the humans. We've kind of talked about the betting a little bit. Will the eventual horse of the year run at Saratoga during this meet? I think it's a tough question, but a good question.
The answer is 1,000% yes.
Okay, I like it.
You know why? I just need to see domestic spending run there once. Seriously, and if you're Chad Brown, are you not shaping up for domestic spending to run there once? I'm not sure what it would be. You would have a better clue. I would be thoroughly disappointed. So everyone who's been paying attention, I've been an Always Karina fan, and I'm probably her biggest fan. She was not good in her last effort. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think she's going to be better than what she is? Than what she showed, I should say? Yeah, I do. I'm not sure she's going to be Malathot or Search Results. I'll be the first to admit it. I was wrong. Do I still think she could be a top 5 filly in the country? That I do. And I do think we could see her Breeders' Cup weekend if she progresses. She's not good enough right now. Domestic Spending is my favorite horse, Always Karina second. He is my favorite horse in the country. And I've told you for a long time when he faced Colonel Liam, was it the Maker's Mark Mile? Is that when they had the dead heat? Or what was it?
No, it wasn't Maker's Mark. I can't remember what they call that. The Old Forester Bourbon Classic.
Old Forester. Okay. Mm-hmm. On Derby Day, right? Was that on Derby Day?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The dead heat, and we were on air right after. It was late at night. You guys had gone back from the track. I think it was like maybe me, you, Ryan, and Jared. And I was like, boys, this horse is the horse of the year now. We hadn't seen this horse for months.
Yeah.
And he just beat the best turf horse running. And then the next time we saw them in the Manhattan, wasn't really all that close. And I looked at you into the first turn, and I was like, isn't it sad that he knows he's going to pass all these horses? And it was like, and that's exactly what happened. This horse, I would be very upset with Chad Brown, and I would ask him firsthand if I saw him if this horse didn't run. Dennis says, or Essential Quality. Right now, Domestic Spending is a better horse than Essential Quality to me.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean things can't progress. Like Horse of the Year can't go to Essential Quality down the road. If I had to hand out that award right now, I don't really think it's close. Domestic Spending has destroyed everyone. So I would say yes. I think Chad Brown would be doing horse racing a disservice by not bringing him there. So I'm going to say yes. I'm 1,000% confident Chad Brown does that.
I was waiting for you to stop because I don't think Domestic Spending is going to run at Saratoga. Right now, this horse is pointed towards the old Arlington Million. It's not that anymore. And that's the third week in August. If that horse runs there, I don't know when we're going to see Domestic Spending at Saratoga. That's the problem. Now, plans could change. We could, see him there. And if he does, I would agree. But I'm not sure. I don't think we'll see him. And I think it is a shame that a horse like that. But listen, he's done that before. He uses that Arlington race, for most of his big horses. We'll see. I don't know. I'm hoping we see him at Saratoga, but I'm not sure. So back to the Essential Quality point. Yeah, I think he's one that's pretty likely to win Horse of the Year if he can go up there and win the Travers and then compete well or win the Breeders' Cup Classic. I think that's your most likely one that's going to be up there if Domestic Spending isn't there. So it's going to be interesting. You also have I think Nick's Go is kind of sneaky again. What if he goes up and goes gate to wire in the Whitney? All of a sudden he's right there in that conversation as well. So you know better than me. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. It's a two-part question to add on this, and you know better than me because I think these Horse of the Year awards are a joke. I think the polls are a joke. I'll be the first one to admit. I know you vote on the polls. I think the Horse of the Year thing is a complete joke because turf runners are always going to be discredited. Always. So with that being said, does Nick's Go the beginning of his 2021? So let's say through June 30th, the first 6 months, we'll just split it. Has he done enough damage to his resume that he can't win? Or do these voters just say, well, he's done well over the summer and into the Breeders' Cup, he could still win it? Or does that question make sense? Like, is it too late for him? Or can he rewrite all the wrongs? I don't know really how the process works because I don't care. So here's the deal. A turf horse absolutely can win Horse of the Year, but it has to be in a year where the dirt horses don't do all that well. And I'm with you guys. And Dennis is like, I completely agree. It's a joke. I'm 100% with you guys. I don't vote up for the Eclipse Awards, but I vote in that NTRA poll, and I've said it here and publicly and everywhere. I think it's stupid. Like, it's really dumb. I don't like it. But at the same time, it's there. So a turf horse can win it. Domestic Spending definitely can win it. But if, let's say, Nick's Go wins the Whitney, wins one more, and then wins the Classic, he will be Horse of the Year. I guarantee it. Let's say Essential Quality wins the Travers and the Classic. He will be Horse of the Year because that's what the voters vote for. Even if Domestic Spending goes undefeated, if a horse like Essential Quality or Nick's Go can win big races in this country on the dirt and win multiple ones.
Well, let me throw one more at you. What if Latrusco doesn't lose the rest of the year?
It's possible. They don't
I don't know.
He would have to beat the boys at some point. No.
I'm saying Latrusco over Domestic Spending, not Latrusco over the boys for Horse of the Year.
Say the male dirt horses, older male dirt horses, and the 3-year-olds, we'll throw them in there as well. They all kind of beat up on each other. And then Latrusca is undefeated and Domestic Spending is undefeated. I think Domestic Spending will beat her out.
But it would be close, though. I think it would be very close.
Yep, it would be close. It usually, as far as the pecking order of who we discriminate against, females who only beat females, they're down here. Turf horses are here. And then the glory divisions are up here. Well, and again, I'm telling you the reality of the situation, not what I agree with. Yeah.
I'm not this. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. You're not going off your opinion. You're just telling me how it works, which is fine. Yep. And that's why, to your point, this is why I don't care about it. Because to me, if you're baseball's a little different. If you win the Heisman Trophy, yes, you're going to get discredited if you're doing it against MAC competition or Mountain West competition. I don't know, pick a smaller. But it's like we're talking about dominance. Domestic spending at this point will have been the truly dominant horse, just like Latruska has. So I get it. You'd have to beat the boys, and domestic spending is not running on the dirt. So I'm with you. That's why this process is so stupid. It's about dominance. Like, we're going to discredit a turf horse because he doesn't run on the dirt, or we're going to discredit Latruska because she's a female. You know, it's not like she's running at Woodbine, or it's not like she's running at, you know, Indiana. I shouldn't say Indiana Grande right now. It's not like she's running at Prairie Meadows. Like, she's going all around the country and competing. I mean, and Dennis is. So this is the horse we were talking about, Bricks and Mortar. This is exactly what you were talking about with Chad Brown. That's why I said, you know, it would be a disservice if Chad Brown doesn't let. I personally think domestic spending is better than Bricks and Mortar. I truly believe that.
Yep.
Now, that's not saying Bricks and Mortar is a bad horse. That's not what we're saying. But if you said domestic spending or Bricks and Mortar, you're going to own one of them. You don't know which one. Which one would you take? I'm taking domestic spending. And I think it would be a shame because Chad Brown grew up on this meet. So, you know, hate to say it, but you're going to bring him to a track that might close in a few years. The Arlington Million. Yeah, the Arlington Million might not exist come this time next year or this time in 2 years. That's where you're going to bring him when Saratoga's never going to die. I don't know. I'd be very disappointed. That's why I said it would be a disservice to horse racing, because this might be Chad Brown's best horse he's ever trained, ever. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to have him at Saratoga. I think it would be a truly bad thing for the game, but it is what it is.
To Dennis's point, and he's right, another correct point. If Vino Rosso would have won, you know, the Whitney and the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Classic, he would have beat out Bricks and Mortar. They, you know, I remember that year going into it. I knew a few comments were like, well, you know, well, here's another one that discriminated against sprinters. They're even below the fillies. You know, they were like, well, at least Matoli, he's just a dumb sprinter, but at least he's running on the dirt instead of the turf, you know, because that was the other horse that might beat out Bricks and Mortar for horse of the year. It's like, really? Well, like, Matoli won the mile. Matoli's like, what do you want him to do? You know, it's crazy.
No, I agree that if you're a true sprinter, then you're lower to me than a turf horse. Like, because that's just, I'm not saying they're not great, but it's just like, when you think of this country, like, the distance thing is a bigger issue for horse of the year than the surface thing to me.
Yeah.
That's just, mind you, if you were to put domestic spending in Europe, I think that horse could legitimately be a top 5 turf horse. And that's all they run. Literally, that's all, you know what I'm saying? So that's how good I think domestic spending is. Like, Colonel Liam would not be able to hold his own against some of these turf horses. Domestic spending can. You know, if I was Chad Brown, now, I know this is a risk, I would have him in one of the first weekends, one of the first weekends at Saratoga in like the first stakes race he can. He'll be 1-9. He can gallop out, and then bring him to Arlington. It'll have been enough time off from the Manhattan, and I get why he's not doing that. I'm saying that as a fan, but when you start talking, I'll find the perfect race, 4-year-olds and upward, going like a mile and a 16th or a mile and an 1/8, whatever, mile and 3/16. I'll find one. The horse can, again, be 1-5, and he can win by 10 lengths. It'll be a paid workout, essentially. And then let him go to Arlington. At least he could say he brought him up there.
All right, let's go on from this, and let's talk about, because Jared's asking about some horses that we might see. Do you think we'll see Rombauer here? I don't know. He might run in the Haskell this next weekend. He might go to the Travers after that. I think he's 50-50. I think Jackie's Warrior 100% you'll see in the sprint races. Rock Your World, I do not think we'll see at Saratoga. I have no idea about that horse, where he's at. Probably see him at Del Mar. Known Agenda, I think we'll see in the 3-year-old series at some point. Being with Pletcher, I definitely think we will see him at some point. So let's see. Oh, Millie Philly. I don't care to see Millie Philly ever again. But yeah, I think she could pop up here for sure. Maybe in the Alabama, something like that. Dennis thinks Matoli is the fastest horse he's ever seen. Boy, he was very, very good. I don't know if he's the fastest ever, but damn, he was fun to watch. All right, let's move on to our last talking point. What will be the best race of the meet? So when it's all said and done, and it's year-end awards for Saratoga, we look back on and we say, wow, that was the best race of this meet. The easy answer might be the Travers, but I think you probably got a different one. You're always tricky, Ricky, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be probably a turf horse. That's a good one. You asked, I don't know. Can we switch it around? Can I let you go first?
Yeah.
So I'll let you go, and I'll have a good answer, an off the book, off the pace type of answer. I'm not going to give you the Travers.
I will say this. I'm not going to say the Travers, even though it's very possible at the end of the meet, we're going to sit here on a show and go, wow, that Travers was unbelievable. And anybody that answers with the Travers, sure.
Possible.
What about the Whitney? What about Nick's go on the lead with Maxfield trying to catch him late? Was that not going to be pretty freaking awesome if that happens? And by the way, there's going to be other horses in the race of quality as well. That could be good. I'm going to go with the Whitney.
Yeah, last year's Whitney, we were like, it was kind of like Tom's d'Etat, and then he missed the gate completely, and then that was it. I think he went off at 4-5 on that day. Who won? Was it Improbable?
Improbable won a gate to wear fashion that day because Tom's d'Etat broke horribly. Code of Honor didn't run very good by my standards. It was just okay. Yeah, it was made out to be a pretty good race, and then Improbable won. But Improbable ended up finishing second in the Classic, so he was not a bad horse.
Because I'm nuts, which I am, my favorite race, and it's going to be the race we talk about because I'm going to be right. It's not going to be the Coaching Club American Oaks when Malathot loses. It's going to be the Alabama. You know why? Because Chad Brown's going to have that horse ready to go on August 21st. How about this? If she wins the Alabama, and again, she's got to be safe, got to be healthy. She wins the Alabama and she's entered. Let's say she's entered. I need to do a live show outside your house with no shirt on.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think that horse. I don't think Always Karina could get 1.25 miles if she jumped in the back of a truck after 6 furlongs, let alone 1 mile. I just don't think if Always Karina is going to beat Malathot, it'll be in the Coaching Club. I don't think it'll be in the Alabama.
Well, I didn't pick the Coaching Club just because I'm not sure if that's enough time for her. Like I think she might need another race. Well, I'm giving Chad like 6 weeks here to get this filly together. So Coaching Club comes up. I don't know how much before, but it's before that.
Coaching Club will be the second week of the meet, and then the Alabama will be the third weekend in August.
Which Malathot may or may not even run in the Alabama. Who knows? I mean, she comes out healthy. I mean, I would be shocked if she didn't. If she runs well and wins by a few lengths, even though Search Result has a legitimate shot. I can't wait for the Alabama. And what I will say, I didn't plan on being at the track. We're going to be there for the Whitney. I will make the day trip if she is in the Alabama, and I will stand at that rail all day long and be willing to piss myself to watch this horse win that race. Now, she's probably not going to be there, and she definitely won't win, but I'm going to find a clip of this episode. I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to walk up to Chad Brown and say, you know what? I told everyone on Friday, July 9th at 12:18, and then he's going to look at me like I'm nuts. But that's the race I can't wait for. I honestly, the Coaching Club or the Alabama, those are the two that I'm looking forward to. Because Malathot, I'm willing to admit, she's the best filly in the country right now. So
the great thing about Saratoga is there's always a big race every weekend that could blow us away. And the Coaching Club and the Alabama with Malathot, a horse that some of you may have forgotten about a little bit. She's definitely been kind of pushed to the side, hadn't ran since the Oaks. So. It's exciting to see her back. That filly division is pretty solid. So we'll see what happens. I'm very excited for the Coaching Club. I know that because I think if Malathot's going to get beat, it is going to be right there. And then Dennis kind of talking about the Whitney Happy Saver. Yeah, he could rebound. Max Player, obviously the winner of the Suburban. I don't think Mystic Guide is going to go to that race, but it'd be cool if he did. So we'll see. What else did Dennis say? Yeah, always Karina is the horse.
Always Karina. It's the Chad Brown filly. She just lost in the
Mother Goose.
The Mother Goose. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Let me ask this question before. Oh yeah, okay. So he wants to ask.
No.
I can't. I'm like drunk. I can't even read. Let me ask this question here for a minute. Soothsay or Malathot? Because, oh gosh, no, Malathot's much better. Oh gosh,
Malathot would beat Soothsay by 12. I will get into the Indiana.
Okay. I'm not willing to say that. I'm not willing to say 12, but she's much better.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it wouldn't be 6. I just don't know if it would be 12.
So
12.
If you want to, we can transition that into the Indiana recap. Because Soothsay is a horse we did see live and in person.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's do that. Let's just go right in to the Indiana Indiana Derby talk. We'll start with Indiana Oaks since we had the comment on Soothsay. I get what Dennis is saying here. Soothsay, we were there live. We were right on the rail, right on the finish line. And I looked at Ricky and said, oh, Soothsay is done. That was bad. Hopped out of the gate, spots the field a lot of links. And this is not a horse that wants to come from way behind. And was still able to do it. Got up in literally the last stride to beat Moonswag, who was 40-1 in the race. But Soothsay wins it. Ricky, what did you think of Soothsay in that race? And then, kind of comment, not even Malathot so much. Do you think Soothsay can springboard that and go on and face tougher?
I do. I thought that Indiana Grand is a weird track. Not weird as like the people are weird or whatever. Like to a lot of trainers are not going to ship in, especially from out west. It's just one of those, unless they have bigger things in mind. Like she might just go, I don't know what the plans are. She might go right on here, like right to New York. I don't know. Again, I don't have any. She wasn't the only shipper, though. Who was the other shipper? I'm actually going to pull up the chart so people can see it if they're interested. Who was the other ship? Do you remember off the top of your head there was another shipper that came in there as well? Do you remember?
For the Indiana Oaks? Will Secret?
Will Secret, yeah. When we both said you shouldn't be betting Will Secret at 2-1. We'll dive into that. I'm going to show you guys the chart in a minute as I'm talking through here. I think Soothsay showed a lot. I really did because she missed the break. And Aaron, if she just finished like 6th, we would have looked at each other like, you know what, she missed the break and she's probably better than this. The fact she won, Moonswag ran the best race of her career. Moonswag will never repeat that effort again. I'll be willing to admit it. And we were with your friend, Aaron West. I'm not going to get into a lot of the details because I'm not sure if I can, but we were with him and he was sure as heck rooting for Moonswag. And it's the age old, like, are you happy you finished second after winning the race? Like, there's a difference between finishing second when a horse like Gamine won the Acorn by 20. It's like, can you feel good about yourself finishing second when you lost by 20? Moonswag had kind of no excuse to lose because Moonswag was up by a couple. I think Soothsay could be the 3rd best filly if she was to enter the coaching club, which is probably too quick of a turnaround. But maybe she comes to New York and runs in August. So I'm not sure what the plans are. Maybe she goes back out west. But I do think she's extremely talented and getting better. So I was impressed that she was able to come off after missing the break that badly.
I'll be against her next time out. I think it was more of a situation. Will Secret didn't show up. The Brett Calhoun filly, Lovely Ride didn't show up. And Soothsay showed heart. I will give her that. And ran a big race. I will also give her that. I still don't think she's that great. I mean, you look at Crazy Beautiful, went to Soothsay's home track and just beat her easily. I think Crazy Beautiful is kind of the horse that if you think can jump up and beat one of these top ones, I think she's a better candidate than Soothsay. I do think the horse showed a tremendous amount of heart in this race. And I agree with the fact that she certainly deserves a shot at a bigger race now. 100%. But 100%, I don't think she can compete with like that top level. I don't see this horse pulling off a win at Saratoga. I put it that way.
I think Soothsay is a nice horse to use like underneath a Malathot. If you think she's like the 4th or 5th and you say, you know what, I don't want to go Malathot search results, I'll go Malathot, Crazy Beautiful, Malathot, Suse. Like you might get $10-12 for your dollar exacta bet. So that's like, I agree. She's probably not Malathot or search result and not Crazy Beautiful, but she's a very nice horse. Is there anyone else you want to really talk about in here? I don't know what Lil Tootsie was. She was dreadful. I was impressed with Marion Francis, though, because she took a nice step up. When I was telling you, we were sitting there, I was like, I don't know. I feel like I got to bet Brad Cox Flo Giroux at 12-1. She wasn't horrible. I mean, she wasn't great. She ran a little bit better than her odds.
I don't want any of them out of this, right? I mean, when you think of all the horses that had better trips than Suse and none of them could beat her, I don't know. I kind of want to draw a line through all of these, honestly. And that's not again, Suse, huge excuse. So she won. Any win after that break, and it's fantastic, right? The rest of these, it's like the favorite totally didn't show up. Calhoun's horse, Lovely Ride, was not good. Suse had every excuse in the world to lose, and none of you could beat her. I don't know, man. I don't know about these horses going forward.
No, I'm completely with you. I'm not like in love with with any of them by any stretch. There is one horse that I do want to talk about, and that's Will Secret. I'm completely done with her. I mean, like, okay, I'm going to say something that I said at the track that I almost got in trouble for saying. If someone out there is betting John Court at 2-1, you highly have to question how much you value money, because the answer must be you don't value it at all. I'm sorry. And I asked Aaron off the record why John Court is still on this horse, and he told me why. And my response was, that's the stupidest reason I've ever heard. I'm not going to say what it was. If someone ever witnesses me betting a John Court horse at this level, I'm not saying like an allowance, I'm not saying a claimer, a John Court at a graded stakes level, someone please take my money and just rip it up. You could use it as toilet paper. You could blow your nose in it. You could spit on it. You could throw it in the garbage. That is what you're going to get out of this. It's dreadful. And I told Aaron, I said, could you imagine walking up to the windows and betting John Court at 2-1? And this is what you got. Now, she's not a good horse anyway. Dennis says, I said the same thing to you about Robbie Alvarado, and he kept going to the well. Okay, so this is the difference. Robbie Alvarado at one point was a very good rider. I'm not sure John Court was ever a really good rider in my book. I've never looked at John Court and said, yep, he's good. I looked at Robbie Alvarado, and Aaron just shook his head. At one point, Robbie was a nice rider. So maybe it's not the same now, but oh my goodness. I feel truly awful for the people who bet John Court, because they would have been better off buying beer.
Hell, John Court, I consider him a friend. Hung out with him at night at Oakland several times. Hopefully, I don't agree, John. No, listen. He probably shouldn't be on a graded stakes horse, but I don't really think John got the horse beat. I don't think the horse was ready to run that day. So
no, I'm with you. I'm completely.
Yeah. But he'll live to fight another day. Oh, listen, Johnny Boy at 10-1 or more. Take your shots. Take your shots. I still think he's a decent rider.
Well, that's where we agree. We agree at 10-1. That's why I'm saying 2-1. If there's any race in a graded stake, John Court is 2-1. I am running the other way to bet anyone else. I'll bet Malloy more. I'll bet Sweet Pearl. I can never bet him at 2-1. There are a lot of other riders that I wouldn't do the same. To be quite honest with you, like I'm not going to go through them all, but I mean, boy, you've got to really look at yourself in the mirror and say, why did I do that? Like, I don't think he's a bad rider. I just don't like him in these spots. Just like we don't like Dale Roman with a big favorite in a big race either. It's the same thing.
Well, I think if you're doing a handicapping show, you have to be honest with your people, whether you like the person personally or not. And I can't disagree. I can't. He's an odd guy to ship in to ride one horse for you, and like we're going to have John travel with Will Secret. It's like, yeah, that doesn't, you really need to do that, now he's based in Kentucky. So it's like an hour drive up to Indiana Grand. So it's not like they flew him in or anything, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. But listen, again, Will Secret wasn't ready to run. This was even if you didn't like Will Secret before, this was not her race at all. She was horrible in this race. She wasn't ready.
I wouldn't want Will. I asked you we were driving home. We were sitting in the parking lot or the parking garage. I said, where do you want Will Secret? An allowance race? I don't even know if I want her there the way she's been running. So to your point, it wasn't John Court's fault. I don't think anyone would have gotten that horse home, but boy, a combination of a horse that I don't like and a jockey I don't love either at 2-1, I was running the other way. So yeah. But we do have an Indiana Derby to talk about.
Well, and just real quick, to be completely fair, because I know you're not watching, you're saying, well, hell, after the fact, you guys can say that. We said that Wednesday on the show as well before the race. So this was an opinion we had going into the race as well. Will Secret's not the horse to bet in that race, and she wasn't. So anyway,
yeah, and at 10-1, if she was at 10-1, which we knew she wouldn't be, then that's another conversation for another time. We knew it was going to be a short price. So. But there is an Indiana Derby, and I'm going to switch it around. I'll take the lead here.
Yep.
I'll talk about the promotion that I did afterward because I want to get your thoughts first. Remind everyone who your top pick was. At first, I thought it was the Full in Charge. I think that was his name, right? And I was like, oh, Aaron's top choice is Full in Charge with Scratch. And he's like, no, it's not. So who was your top choice and kind of what you thought of the race as a whole?
Yeah, Folsom definitely was top choice. I thought he would definitely roll in the spot, and he just didn't show up with much of a run. He kind of started to make a little bit of a move around the turn, like, okay, he's winding up, and he flattened out. So Folsom just couldn't get the job done here, and it allowed for a pretty decent exacta for the sheet. We had a 1.7 over 1.57 exacta. You got paid pretty decent on that, $74 for a $2 wager, because Mr. Wireless gets the job done and runs a fantastic race. And Sermon on the Mount runs pretty well as well, to be the best of the rest. But listen, Ricky, your top choice, Mr. Wireless, there was never any doubt in the stretch. This horse poured it on, getting better and better. So I'll ask you the same question that we asked about Susay. Is Mr. Wireless now a horse that you think can jump up and run in a bigger race?
I think he can. I'm not sure he's a G1 level horse, but could he run in another graded stakes race at Saratoga? Or maybe they go out west with him, Del Mar or whatever. I think they can. I really, really do. I don't know what the plans are moving forward. You're right, and Full Charge was the horse that was scratched. What does Brett Calhoun do with this horse? I'm not really sure, because we haven't seen him on the biggest of stages yet. Aaron, I told you, I said I really like that horse Warrant. I really, really did. And that was a really nice race that he ran. And, you cashed with Mr. Wireless in a big exacta on their big day at Lone Star. I think it was at the end of June, right? A few weeks ago.
May.
He's just extremely, extremely consistent. I was very skeptical of Folsom. You got to go into these things looking at yourself and saying, do I think Mr. Wireless is like 10 times worse than Folsom? Because you have 0.4, 0.4 times 10, obviously. Oh, not quite 10 times, or 10 times as likely to win, I should say, not talent.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. He's not 10 times as likely to win, because if you do that math, that's what it was about almost. I wanted a horse on the lead. And unfortunately, it didn't work out in the Indiana Oaks because Susay just broke extremely poorly. Mr. Wireless broke sharply. Star in My Dreams was decent. I thought he was a little disappointing. But yeah, no, I put out the video. We're going to get to a few of the sideshow things here. I put out the video. Rachel, if you guys don't know Rachel, she's one of the on-air hosts. She asked me to do a video. I made one, and I said, for all these reasons, I really like the Warrant race, and I like the Gate to Wire. I like the fact Ramon Vasquez shipped as well. That's a big ship to go from Lone Star to Indiana Grand, and I think that might have been one of a couple rides, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was his only one. I don't remember off the top of my head. He was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We're both Ramon Vasquez fans. The other thing I said, and I'm gonna try to do it again this weekend. So tune in here. I went on Twitter and I said, if anyone's interested, I'm gonna give away $50 if you can give me the winner and the length of victory to the nearest quarter. Because Aaron luckily taught me out of the winner, because I would have been out a lot more if it was just Folsom. Thank you to you guys if you guys are watching and people who participated. I got over 80 DMs, and I was very, very liable if Folsom won by about a length and a quarter or a length and a half. 6 people, I think, had Mr. Wireless. None of them had him more by 2 lengths, so I didn't pay anyone out. And Aaron and I were discussing. We were like, yeah, should we pay anyone out? But we looked at each other like, for closest, and we were like, you can't be a length and 3/4 off and pay 3 people. That that doesn't make. If you were at 3.5, you know what? That's close enough. You got a set of cojones. You said Mr. Wireless by a lot. And the reason I did this is because I really liked Mr. Wireless. If I liked Folsom, I wouldn't have done it, because then I would have been rooting against myself. It wouldn't have made sense. So I'm probably going to do it again this week. It was a great promotion. Thank you guys for tuning in and DMing me. It was great. I'm going to try to do it again on a favorite that I think is vulnerable. If I like the favorite, I'm not going to do it. You don't have to pick the favorite at all. I don't know how I'm going to structure it. Again, if you guys did it, it was great. It's completely free, again, by the way. No, you just got to send me a DM with the winner and the length of victory. Yeah, it was great. To sum it up, Aaron, and then I'll throw it to you. I had a blast. I don't know if I ever have to go again. I'll be brutally honest. It was a trek for me. I was in the airport for like 7 hours before. We barely slept. But it was great. It was a great time. We got to just hang out, talk horses at a small track, meet a lot of cool people as well. What did you think of the whole experience? I know you hadn't been to Indiana Grand before. Would you go back again? Or are you kind of like a one and done type of thing as well?
No, I would go back anytime for sure. I think just your flight situations cause us to miss a lot of sleep. And that was the only downer of the whole thing, because the energy level was just zapped. By the time that day was over, it's hard to go on like 2-3 hours sleep and then have to do it again the next day. But yeah, Indiana Grand's a great place and they're great people. They treated us so well. And there was a lot of horse racing people there, whether it's people from Twitter or people from Churchill Downs or, Bremont from Stable Duel. We met her. What a nice person she is. And so it was a really good to just meet a lot of nice people. Rachel is fantastic. Got us set up. Very friendly person as well. So it was awesome. I thought the track was really clean and nice. Had a little bit of everything for everybody. It's a smaller track for sure, but it's got a lot of charm to it. So I would definitely visit Indiana Grand. I thought the racing on the track was really good. I really did. For what Indiana Grand is and what those stakes were, they got, the fields that you would expect. It was pretty good. As far as this race specifically, look out for Mr. Wireless, in derbies like the West Virginia Derby, like the Oklahoma Derby, maybe the Louisiana Derby. I think that is where he belongs. I think that's where they'll keep him. He's kind of, in my opinion, kind of like the Midnight Bourbon of those races. He is very consistent. He shows up every time. And if you show up and you don't run well, he will beat you. But if you show up and you put up a really good effort, he's probably going to get second, and I think that's just kind of what he is at this moment. He continues to progress. This was definitely his best race. And yeah, this is 2 races in a row. He helped me cash a big exacta. So I love the horse. I as far as Folsom, I don't know. Just didn't show up, but Mr. Wireless did in a big way, and he's just very, very consistent. But yeah, as far as Indiana Grand goes, definitely you need to go there. If you haven't been, go visit. I know it's probably not the easiest track to get to for some of you if you're located on the East Coast or the West Coast. But if you're in the middle of America, you want to, spend a day at a nice racetrack, I'd go to Indiana Grand anytime. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was cool. Again, I'm not a fan of the smaller tracks. Maybe that's my New York maybe that's my New York City thinking, which is fine. Even I told Aaron, I was like, they could probably smell the city off of me, just the way I was.
Real quick though, once you got inside the track, it didn't really feel like a small track to me. I don't know. Maybe you disagree.
No, that's fair. Again, if you're going there with a Saratoga, a Del Mar, Churchill Downs frame of mind, you're going to be underwhelmed. That's not the thought process you're supposed to go in there with. But I will say, if you're going there with a small track mindset, because I've been to plenty of small tracks, it had a nice feel to it. Now, again, we were there on the biggest day of the year. If we were to go there tomorrow, I don't know if they're open tomorrow, but if we were to go like next Wednesday, we might be 50 people there. But on the biggest day of the year, it was pretty crowded. It's a long day. It's a super long. We were there from like 2:20 until close to like 9. But no, it was awesome. It was awesome. Again, the travel really made it tough. It wasn't the day itself. But no, it was awesome. It was truly awesome.
Yeah.
Next time you see Aaron and I, though, I don't know. Are we going to do a show next Wednesday, or you're going to be? When are you traveling?
Wednesday will be impossible for me unless we change it to like an evening show, because I am traveling all morning Wednesday morning.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out this weekend. I promise you, this is not blinkers off. There will be a time established, and I'll tweet it out, or Racing Dudes will tweet it out, something like that. If we do a time switch, if not, if it just becomes too difficult and maybe I can't do it at night, or Aaron's just too tired, whatever, or he doesn't want to do it, I'll maybe try to get a guest on Wednesday morning, or maybe I'll just come on and just run through it real quick as well by myself for 30 minutes. I don't mind. I'm not gonna. I might have some difficulty now making it for opening day, so we're really gonna try to navigate this as well. If you guys, I'm gonna be tweeting this out every day, or trying to say it. I hope Aaron will make sure this happens as well. I'm doing, and Aaron will. As of right now, we are doing a free. Yes, this is blinkers on. We are focused, laser focused. I am doing a handicapping seminar. Aaron is. I shouldn't say I am. Aaron's doing it with. We're doing it together. Opening day, Thursday. I'm gonna try get it to be a StreamYard. It's at the Trackside Grill. If you guys are interested, I'm gonna tweet it out. I'm gonna try to get it so we can set this up as a StreamYard as well. I can't guarantee it. It would be awesome if we can. It's not going to be quite the same, and we'll give more details if we can do a show on Wednesday. I think I'm going to try to do one anyway if Aaron can't hop on.
Yeah.
But you'll definitely see one of us Wednesday, hopefully Thursday as well, and we'll definitely do a StreamYard on Friday. Guaranteed, we'll do one on Friday. If I can't make it up there, I will do it from wherever my location is. Aaron could do it from his hotel room, I guess. So we're going to be up in the air. I might have to pay you guys to come on. But yeah, no, we're definitely going to do Saratoga. I can't really get into why. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but the plan as of right now is still to get there. So Aaron will be traveling. Are you excited to flying into Albany? It's a beautiful airport from what I've heard.
It'll be my 25th time flying into the Albany airport. It is very nice, very small. I know every terminal, there's one terminal. I know every gate, I should say. I believe gate 10 is where we will fly into, unless they've changed it. It's been 2 years because of COVID. So yeah, I'm super excited. I love it. I love the Albany airport. Take the what is that? Interstate 87. Up through the Twin Bridges and hit I think it's exit 15, 16, 17, somewhere around in there, and be right there at the track. Yeah, very excited. Get in Wednesday. If you're going to be at Saratoga, be there Wednesday. I know they're not running, but we will be there, or I will be there if you want to come say hi or meet up. And then at the track Thursday and Friday. And then I have to go to Plattsburgh Saturday to visit Heather's family. So that's kind of a bummer, but I will be there at track Thursday and Friday. We'll be out downtown as well, I'm sure. So hit me up, be around. Very excited. Definitely, hit me up. Well, we can meet up anywhere, have a beer. I'll be around. I'll be active.
Yeah, I haven't told. Maybe I might just surprise Aaron and pop up there Wednesday. Who knows? No, I'm kidding. I don't think I'm going to as of right now. Again, I might have some things to deal with, but that's going to do it. I'll close it off today. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you hopefully on Wednesday at the same time. He'll be traveling. Maybe we'll try to adjust to at night. We'll kind of see how things go. We'll try to anticipate it. Aaron and I will talk. Otherwise, maybe I'll try to get a guest on to go. Opening day is Thursday. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll just do it Wednesday night to be safe, just because Thursday I don't know if I'll be able to set up a StreamYard while we're doing it live. Again, if you guys are in Saratoga opening weekend, please reach out to either me or Aaron or the Racing Dudes separately, or whoever. Aaron will certainly be there the first 2 days. I'm hoping I can be there all weekend. Aaron, it was a blast. Indiana Grand was awesome. Yep. Too bad you have to look at my face again in less than a week. It was great. Any final words before we sign off here for the week?
No, have fun this weekend. It looks like the weather is kind of clearing up in New York, so I do think we're going to have some decent, racing Saturday and Sunday for sure. So I don't expect them to be off like all the turf races on the weekend. I definitely think the Belmont Oaks and Derby will be on the turf. Today, I do think you're going to have to, get through some shitty track conditions, but I do think it's going to be improving. Thankfully, that rain got out of there pretty quickly. So I think it's going to be a really good weekend for racing, a good primer. And then next week, it all begins over again, Saratoga and Del Mar. So we're super excited.
Yeah, I think today's obviously off. Tomorrow, I think every race but the 2 big stakes will come off. It's rained a lot. Sunday, we might have an actual shot to stay on the turf completely, which would be awesome to end the meet. And then then to Saratoga. So that's going to do it for us today. Again, guys, please stay tuned for a schedule this week. Friday is definitely guaranteed, 11 a.m. Yep. But we don't know. Aaron's traveling. I'm traveling. I'm actually flying to Boston, so we'll see if I even get there tonight. I don't know. I'm all over the place. But that's going to do it for us. Again, guys, please let us know what you think of today's episode, and if you had any comments or questions on the Indiana Derby or Indiana Oaks or any other race there. Honestly, we were there the whole day, or anything at Saratoga. Unfortunately, we couldn't cap a card for you today, but just weather got in the way and things like that. But that's going to do it for us. So hopefully we'll see you Wednesday at some point. We'll let you guys know. Enjoy the weekend. Big stakes action from Belmont closing weekend. 2 grade 1s tomorrow on the turf. The victory ride in grade 3 as well, I believe. So a big day at Belmont. Everyone take care. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And we'll see you next week for opening week at Saratoga. Take care, everyone.